Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the Baal HaTanya and first Chabad Rebbe, was once collecting money for Pidyon Shvuim. He visited a town with an infamous miser. Although incredibly wealthy, this stingy man would field every request for tzedakah the same exact way. No matter how great the cause or need, he'd offer up an old, rusty penny. Even the most poor person would return the offending coin, and he was soon avoided by fundraisers and paupers alike. The Alter Rebbe decided to visit this very man. The local rabbis accompanying him explained the futility of approaching the miser, but the Alter Rebbe insisted. Sure enough, after the Alter Rebbe presented the gravity of the situation and the dire need for the tzedakah funds, the miser pulled out the rusty penny and presented it to the rabbis. The Alter Rebbe looked at the coin for a moment and then turned to the miser with a warm smile. "Thank you very much for supporting our cause," the Alter Rebbe said, and continued to shower the man with blessings before turning to leave. As they left the home, the rabbis accompanying him were taken aback. "How can you let him disrespect you like that by giving you an old rusty coin? He deserves to have that rusty coin thrown right back in his face." The Alter Rebbe didn't answer, but before they could leave the rich man's property, they heard a voice calling out to them, "Wait, wait, come back." It was the miser running after them. "How much did you say you needed?" asked the man. 5,000 rubles, replied the Alter Rebbe. "Allow me to give you a little more," replied the miser, and he offered 100 rubles. Once again, the Alter Rebbe thanked him very warmly, showering him with blessings, and turned to go. And once again the miser called them back. The scene repeated itself until the infamous miser gave them the entire amount that was needed for the mitzvah. The rabbis turned to the Alter Rebbe in amazement. "You performed a miracle," they exclaimed. "You managed to get actual funds from this utter miser." "No, this was not a miracle," the Alter Rebbe replied pointedly. "This man simply never knew the joy of giving. Every person who received this rusty coin threw it back in his face, and so he never thought that he was able to become a giver. I simply allowed him to realize that underneath his tough exterior, he was in fact a generous giver." I'm reminded of this story by a proclamation found at the beginning of this week's Parsha. The Vidui Meiser was declared by every individual as they came to offer their Bikurim, their first fruits and produce. Vidui Meiser literally translates as the Meiser confession. However, this declaration seems to be anything but that. Quote, "I have taken all of the required meiser from my produce. I have given to the orphan, to the widow, to the poor," the pasuk says. "I have done everything you have asked of me. I have fulfilled your commandments," concludes the pasuk. Does this sound like a confession? This sounds like someone who thinks that he's done everything right. In truth, our sages are teaching us a very powerful insight by calling this declaration a confession. To change, we need to believe both that we can and that we should. A person who doesn't see any worth in themselves and in what they do will never grow or improve. If a garment is dirty beyond repair, it doesn't get cleaned, it becomes a shmata. You only save something if you think it has worth. This is what Vidui Meiser is teaching us. When we confess, it's important to identify what we did wrong, but equally important is to recognize what we did right. If we get caught up in the bad, we run the risk of thinking that we can't get better. And this is what the Alter Rebbe realized when he approached the miser. Everyone else saw a cheap and stingy man that was beyond change, but the Alter Rebbe saw someone who was stuck at giving a small amount because he and the people around him didn't believe he was a giver. The Alter Rebbe simply made the man aware that he was already giving and that it was indeed valuable, and the man realized he can give much more, which enabled him to unleash his philanthropic potential. How we see ourselves determines the story we will write, and if we focus on our failures, our mistakes become our plight. The lens with which we view our fate shapes the tale we choose to create. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbos.